What's up, my good peeps? Your boy PC Williams, man, coming to y'all live on a great, beautiful Monday evening. Hope you had a great weekend. I know I did, man. Man, was it a drama-filled weekend? You had the Power premiere. You had Saints and Sinners, that season finale. You had all this stuff going on with the chicken sandwich at Popeyes, man. And college football has started back up. That's right, man. The first official weekend in college football is in the books, as you all know. The number 8 ranked Florida Gators took on the not ranked University of Miami Hurricanes. But it was a rivalry game, still a very credible game there. So what I take away from that game, man, is it was very sloppy. Very, very sloppy game. I feel like, Florida was the better team, but I feel like they played real sloppy, kind of played down to Miami a little bit. Could have, been a better game. I feel like I said, it was a credible game. It was a rivalry game. Yes, Florida is ranked number 8. Miami is not ranked. I feel like Florida is the better team, man for man, but it's still a rivalry game. When you have a very early season test like that, where it's early in the season, you got rivalries playing one another, you're fresh out of training camp, so the timing and the chemistry is not all the way there yet, so early season games are always tricky because, both teams are not really at their best, execution-wise, game shape-wise, a lot of cramping, a lot of, guys kind of feeling and finding their spots and stuff. So I feel like both teams are very talented. I feel like I did pick Florida to win the SEC East and play Alabama in a championship game again in Atlanta. Also think that Miami, will they win the ACC? No. But I feel like Miami can really cause some trouble, down the stretch in the ACC. They're very talented. I feel like they're very, very sloppy on the offensive line. I'll get to that in a second. But for the most part in the game, I think it was very sloppy. But that's to be expected in the early season game, especially when you have a rivalry game. Now, is UM the same kind of rivalry to Florida as Florida State and Georgia and Tennessee? No. But nonetheless, it's still a Florida rivalry. It's still two very historically great programs in the state of Florida and in college football history. So I feel it was a great competitive game. So overall, very sloppy, but that's to be expected in the early season rivalry game. My takeaways in terms of Florida, I feel like they dodged a very big bullet. I feel like the late interception by Felipe Franks, that really should have lost the game. I feel like that was a backbreaker. You don't throw that ball in a situation. You just, play it out, run the clock out, do what you got to do. I feel like Miami, that was their chance right there to win that game, and they just didn't take advantage of it. I feel like Florida-wise, as always, they're very stout on defense. But I feel like if Miami was just okay on offense, they probably would have pulled that out. But Miami was just as bad on offense, so it was no way to... My man Benny G, my homeboy from back in the G, from Kirby and Jackson, served our country very proudly, man. Checking in here. He also won the Battle of the Fans on Saturday. Just wiped the floor with this UN fan, man, with his great knowledge, man. So, my man Benny G checking in. What's going on, man? But back what I was saying, Benny, man. Y'all did win. A win is a win. I'm not trying to take away from y'all, from y'all joy. But I feel like as a former player, just the former player in me saying this, you make mistakes in a win that you have to correct, or they come back and bite you in the ass in the loss. I feel like there are things that Florida can take from this game that will help them down the stretch, because it's not going to get easier. I feel like they got Tennessee. That's always a good. My man Benny G saying it was a horrible win, but hey, a win is a win. But like you're saying, it was a horrible win. But you rather have the win. You rather learn through the mistakes through a win. So I feel like there are things that Florida can take away from this game, turnover-wise, execution-wise. I mean, obviously, you see the talent with Felipe Franks and the receiver. You see that, Dan Mullen has his handprint on this team in terms of what he wants it to look like and be like. I feel like Miami is still searching for their identity on offense, So I feel like Florida did dodge a big bullet. Like I said, you make mistakes in the win that you don't always correct, so I feel like Florida has to look at this tape and say, okay, we can't make that mistake, because if that's Georgia and you're up and Felipe throws that interception, Georgia will score. because Georgia knows who they are with DeAndre Swift and those receivers and Jake Fromm. With Miami, they intercept the ball. They're very young, very raw. Couldn't quite corral themselves in that moment and win that game. Good point, my man Benny G checking in once again, saying defense needs discipline and tackling drills. I definitely agree on that. I think with the lack of, they've really taken away the physicality of training camp, so you definitely see it early in the season. Guys ain't tackling that well, missing routine tackles. I feel like that's a big part of, them cutting down the physicality during the training camps, where it's like not as many two-a-days, not as many padded practices. That comes back to haunt you. I understand that makes the game safer, but it comes back to haunt you in the end because you go out there in live game speed. You're going against other All-Americans or other, guys that are not going to be tackled easily, and you're not that ready to tackle him like that. It's going to be a problem. So definitely dodge a huge bullet. But hey, like I said, you early on in the season, you win the game in a sloppy way. Later on down the road, that sloppy win could be a sloppy loss if you don't learn the right way. So in terms of Felipe Franks, I feel like he does have a lot of expectations, on his shoulder for this upcoming season. With Dan Mullen being there for a second year, Felipe Franks, really having an offensive coordinator that can kind of guide him to where he needs to go at. He's very talented, built the right way, I believe. Not a bad game, but had a pretty okay game. But I feel like going forward, he should learn from this and just continue to get better. But I feel like overall, Florida should be proud of their win, but at the same time, there's a lot to learn going forward because you do have Georgia, you got Tennessee, you got Florida State, you got things coming up that could derail. You have Kentucky, who is very formidable in the SEC East nowadays. So hey, you can't. So my advice to the Garrets is don't rest on your laurels. If you really want to win that SEC East, this game should be more of a disappointment than it was a victory for you guys. But the win's a win, and hopefully we'll be seeing Florida down the road doing big things. Another great point, my man Benny G. I do feel like Miami does have talent. He does. My man Benny G just said on the flip side, he respects Miami. They give them a year, they'll wreck the ACC. I believe they can be a problem this year if you don't take them seriously. I feel like they can really, cause some ruckus down the stretch because the ACC is wide open. We all know it's going to be Clemson winning the ACC, but if you can cause some noise, pull a few upsets, maybe get to Charlotte and play Clemson and maybe, rile their cage a little bit. You just never know. But I do feel like Miami is probably a year away from being a true contender, but I feel like they can be a real problem this year, especially how they play on defense. And like I said, I think Jarren Williams is actually pretty good, but we'll see how his offensive line play, which I'll get to right now. Miami, look, y'all played a hell of a game. I give y'all that. Y'all went out there, you fought. The Garrets were the better team, but if I could give some real solid advice to the University of Miami, it's simply this: quit spending your damn money on jewelry. Okay, we get it. You got the turnover chain. You got Sebastian iced out. You got the 305 chain. You got the original turnover chain from 2 years ago with the U on it. Okay, we get it. Y'all love Cuban link chains. You got the brass knuckle for the touchdowns. Like, okay. You got money and you like buying jewelry. We get it. South Florida athletes like flashy jewelry. Okay, so what? But your offensive line couldn't block my two sons. They couldn't block a vegan from a meat shop. Your offensive line sucks. All right? So spend that money on the O-line coach. Go buy you an offensive line coach and rebuild the offensive line. Like I said, I actually believe Jarren Williams can be pretty good. But we'll never know that with the way your line is blocking for the kid. Y'all can get the man killed. And we will get to something similar to that later on in the show. But I do feel like the offensive line of the Miami Hurricanes is just complete and utter trash. As an offensive lineman myself, I was ashamed to see what I saw. I just feel like this. By no means are you going to hit my quarterback and hurt my quarterback. You're not going to embarrass me out here, even if you are better than me. My man Benny G checking in. They played a hell of a game. You're right. With a freshman quarterback that's a red shirt and a brand new first-year head coach. But let's not forget, Benjamin, just 2 short years ago, this team was undefeated going into the ACC championship game. Well, they lost one game. They had a pretty good damn season. So have they fallen that far off from 2 years ago? I wouldn't say are they the same team. Of course not. Mark Richt leaving, that was a big setback. Last year was an even bigger setback with how they played. This year they are young, but I do feel like there are certain things that you can't let slide. Bad offensive line play is not acceptable, in my opinion. Like I said, I grade offensive linemen on the harshest curve. Period. Like I said, Jerron Williams and that offensive arsenal with the receivers, they can be good, but we'll never know for sure if the O-line doesn't get their stuff together. I get it, they're very young, they're very, inexperienced, but the foundation of your team is up front in the trenches. If you don't get that corrected, then you're not going nowhere fast. So, like I said, as a lineman, I judge linemen on the harshest, curve. So that bad O-line players is never cool in my books, but my stance at all, man. Well, Benjamin, Mark Richt, yeah, you're right. He does have a tendency to not win a big game. We all see it. He couldn't beat Alabama, couldn't win the big one, the SEC and all. We get that. But he does recruit talented players. I don't think this team has fallen off that much from a talent standpoint from 2 years ago. Experience-wise, yes. Maybe lost a couple recruits here and there, yes. But are they not as talented? Are they not talented? Yes. The Hurricanes are not without talent. They'll have a great offensive line. If you don't have a great offensive line, your quarterback and running backs mean nothing. So, and you're right, that is a Mark Richt team that we're seeing, but the talent is still there. Think about it, Benjamin. Your quarterback threw an interception late in the game that the Hurricanes could have scored on, and we're probably having a different conversation. You're right. It was a close game. But I think, like I get my last point here, how the Florida Gators season turns out will determine just how legit of a loss this was for the Hurricanes. Because if Florida goes on to win the SEC East like I predicted, if they go on and win, and get to Atlanta, then maybe Miami is not that bad. Or if Florida goes back to being Florida and losing to, teams that shouldn't lose to, then, maybe you just had two sloppy teams out there tonight. We don't know. I think the expectations are on Florida's side because I expect Florida to win the SEC East. That's just me. I feel like Georgia is kind of hot dogging and kind of feeling a little fat cat-ish, feeling they're above where they should really be. And I feel like this is the perfect time to go and get them this year while they're kind of feeling themselves a little bit. And like I said, with Miami, new year, new head coach, you're right, Benny. But I just feel like what I saw the other night, what I saw Saturday night, that was an opportunity to steal one. You had a chance to steal one with all the new talent, with all the inexperience. You still had an interception with a chance to win that game. So, I can see if you just got blown out by Florida, but the game was right there for you to win. So, what do you take from that? You're right there, the number 8 ranked team in the country. You pick them off. You got a chance to win the game, and you lose. So, in Florida, like I said, they're ranked number 8. So the expectations are pointing to them. Benny G, man, I think you're really doubting your guys. I really feel like Georgia is kind of fat-catting it. Like, I'm watching that team, man, over the last couple of years, you can tell they're starting to feel themselves. In Georgia's mind, they feel like they're on the same level as Bama and Clemson. When in all reality, they haven't quite gotten there yet. And I think this is going to be the perfect year for you guys with how hungry you guys are, with your talent, with Dan Mullen have his handprint on this team. This could be the perfect year that y'all knock off Georgia and win the SEC East. Like I said, you still got Kentucky, which is not a gimme. Tennessee is all, like you said to me on my show, you feel like Tennessee is ripe for upset. You know what I'm saying? You doubt Felipe Franks. My man Benny G said he doubts Felipe Franks. I don't doubt the kid. I really don't. I feel like this. Dan Mullen knows quarterbacks. Look what he did with Tim Tebow and Dak Prescott, who still, to this day, is not a great thrower. So the guys work miracles with quarterbacks who, to me, were less gifted than Felipe Franks. I think I see talent in the kid. I think he's built the right way. I love his swagger. But I feel like he just got a lot to prove. He hasn't earned the right to be given the benefit of the doubt of anything just yet. But he does have talent. He does have the right coach in the right system. It's going to be a long year because he didn't play a great game last night by his standards of his talent. But down the stretch, man, he will be the reason y'all beat Georgia, in my opinion, and win the SEC East. Like I said, I picked y'all to win the SEC East. I would not have done that if I did not believe in Felipe Franks. Believe me, I would not pick y'all to win that division if I didn't think he was somewhat capable of doing that. So, you say you doubt Felipe Franks said, I'm saying, hey, I'm willing to give the kid a chance because I feel like the cycle of quarterbacks in Florida has not been good since Tim Tebow. And crazy thing to say it because he hasn't proven anything yet. Felipe may be y'all best quarterback y'all have had since Tim Tebow in terms of having that best chance to do something beyond just being the game manager. So you saying you're doubting him, I'm saying ride with him, man. There's some of this good stuff. All right, switching gears here. Miami and Florida, yeah, whatever. Cute little game, but it's time to get down some big time stuff. Championship stuff. Heisman talk. Real true contenders. Not runner ups and stuff like that. Recently, my man Marcus Spears said that Tua Tagovailoa. Now, if y'all don't know who I'm talking about, he's the quarterback for Alabama, about 6'1", about 210, Hawaiian, good hair, cool parents, cool swag. You heard him, right? He had the nerve to say that Tua Tagovailoa is the most overrated draft prospect this year. That is BS. That is blasphemy. And that is Marcus Spears' LSU hate coming all through him. First of all, I'm sick and tired of all you Bama haters and Tua Tagovailoa doubters wanting to come out now and pump your chest out. Oh, Tua ain't the man. He's overrated. He ain't that good. He got exposed last year. Oh my God. The dynasty is over. Tua ain't the guy who we thought he was. Oh, really? Look, let's get down to it. If you are sleeping on Tua Tagovailoa going into this season, wake your ass up. Wake up, people. This is the same guy that for an entire year was in the spotlight with the weight of the world on his shoulders and delivered time and time again. Overrated, okay. The guy in his first year as a full-time starter at Alabama completed 69% of his passes for 3,966 yards, 43 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Wow. Very overrated, right? And here's the crazy part. I just named y'all these stats. The guy didn't play in the fourth quarter until November. And not to mention, during the season before the LSU game, you had Nick Saban in his feelings. You see Tua for 2 series, then here comes Jalen Hurts. They switching out. Tua could really have like 5,000 yards and about 55 touchdowns if Bama had played someone worthy before LSU, or if Nick Saban was not all in his feelings about benching Jalen and throwing him in there every 2 series. This is a guy that put up these numbers with very limited action for the better part of the season. Did not play in the fourth quarter until November. Was last year bad for Tua the way it ended? You're right. It was a bad ending, okay? Talking about a guy that comes off the bench, wins a national championship, and a year later he's getting his brains kicked in that same game. You're right. That's not a good trend forward. But was it all Tua's fault? Y'all forget the fact that he had, by far, the worst defense in the Nick Saban era. AJ McCarron, Greg McElroy, Blake Sims, hell, Jalen Hurts freshman year. They all had great defenses. Jake Coker had great. They all had great defenses. Tua had by far the worst defense Nick Saban ever had. Y'all forget they gave up 37 points in that same game. He had by far his worst coaching staff. I'm going to read y'all a direct quote from a very credible SEC coach who shall remain nameless. I'm going to read y'all this quote. He said, "The brilliance of Tua and the talent of the Alabama receivers is covering up the dark truth that this is by far the weakest coaching staff Nick Saban has ever had. Mike Locksley was not that great of an OC. Very predictable. I saw what was coming. Everybody saw what was coming every single week. He had bad coaching. He had a horrible defense by Alabama standards, and he still put up these numbers. He still got you to a national championship game undefeated. Y'all forget, Bama came into that same championship game undefeated just like Clemson. So one game does not change everything. You saying like this, was last year bad for Tua? Yes. Was he exposed by a great defensive coordinator in Brent Venables? Yes. Did I see some issues early on in the LSU game against Mississippi State? Yes. I saw some things that concerned me. My man Benny G once again checking in with the big dogs, saying they lost Kirby Smart. And that's the problem, Ben. We lose coaches. We lost Kirby Smart, and we still won without him. You know, but I feel like this Bama defense this past year was the worst in the Nick Saban era. It's not even close, man. Now, by their standards, were they horrible? No, they weren't horrible. But by Bama standards, they were. Hell, by Bama standards, they were trash. By Bama standards, they were trash on defense this year. So, I get it. Did Tua get exposed last year? A little bit, yes. Like I said, I saw things against LSU that concerned me. And I said to myself, I really hope Tua is watching film, because there are certain things he's getting away with that when he plays Clemson, he won't get away with. And just like I said, it bit us in the ass in the championship game. Brent Venables knew what to do against Tua. He knew it. You don't give Tua an exact read on what you're doing, because if Tua knows what you're doing, he'll kill you. What Brent Venables did was genius. But trust me, what he did doesn't work more than once or twice against a guy like Tua. He shows you one thing, then goes to another one. Okay? So yes, he got the best of Tua that night. But not just Tua. Mike Locksley was out-coached too. A part of that worst coaching staff that Saban's ever had. Now that's down to some numbers here, since all y'all love stats and all that. You know? Since everybody loves stats, right? Let's dive into this downfall of Tua, right? Like I said, how bad was Tua's fall from grace last year? Well, hey, it all started against LSU. So let's run down the history here. Against LSU, Tua was a 25 of 42, 295, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. The very next week, against Mississippi State, he was 14 of 21. He was 14 of 21, 164, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. 2 weeks later, he played a great Auburn defense. He goes 25 of 32, 324, 5 touchdowns, no picks. The very next week against Georgia had his worst game by far. He was 10 of 25, 164, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. He did hurt his ankle, but I'm not going to give y'all that excuse. Okay, fine, whatever. He played as long as he could. It was a bad game. Good game, Kirby Smart. Great game. But they still won. Anyways, he goes against Oklahoma in the playoff game. 24 of 27, 318, 4 touchdowns. Oklahoma has a horrible defense. Okay, whatever. We'll cancel that out. Against Clemson, the night it all went down, Tua was actually 22 of 34 for 295 and 2 touchdowns. Did throw 2 picks. 1 was a pick 6. Not a great game. Not a trashy game either, though. So the downfall of Tua last year when he got exposed was so bad to the tune of this. In those 6 games that I just mentioned, when Tua got exposed and got destroyed, Tua completed 66% of his passes. for 1,560 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Against LSU, top 10 defense. Mississippi State, top 10 defense. Auburn, top 10 defense, number 1 defensive line in the country. Oklahoma, bad defense, okay. And Clemson, top 10, top 5 defense. Okay, cool. In those 6 grueling exposure Tua's lowest point of his life games, in all those games, the lowest point of Tua Tagovailoa's career was him completing 66% of his passes for 1,560 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Wow. Some fall from grace, right? That kid is so overrated. Jesus. Like I said, man, if you're sleeping on Tua, wake your ass up. Hell has no fury like an Alabama team being driven and pushed and coached by a motivated and pissed off Nick Saban. And now Nick Saban has a quarterback to give that energy to. Because in the past, he's had AJ McCarron and Greg McElroy. But now he has a quarterback they can get to and say, you know what, Tua? They saying you suck, man. They saying you're overrated. They saying you ain't the guy. Well, all you Bama heads, man, I got something to tell y'all. You better buckle up, man. If you think Tua was nasty last year, add 1 more year to that. Next year, Tua will be a year older, a year wiser, a year healthier, a year more mature. So look out. Don't say I didn't warn you. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. But if you look closer, since all y'all know everything and everyone is so in love with Trevor Lawrence, right? Okay. What has Trevor Lawrence really done that Tua hasn't already done? Tell me this, people. What has Trevor Lawrence done that Tua hasn't already done? Trevor Lawrence took the position of a starter who the previous year was undefeated and got his team to the playoff. What did Tua do? He took Jalen Hurts' spot. What Jalen Hurts did his freshman year? He got his team undefeated to a championship game. So they both took other guys' spots. Trevor Lawrence came in midway through the season. Very limited film. Not a whole lot of film on the kid. Just like Tua. Came out of nowhere. No film on him. Just a very talented freak of nature that shredded you to pieces. But eventually, they got film on Tua. Eventually, other great defensive coordinators start to call other great defensive coordinators and say, okay, look, here's what I saw on Tua. We don't have the talent y'all have, so here's what you should do. Okay, so LSU calls Mississippi State. They say, okay, look, LSU, we don't really have y'all athletes, but our scheme will cause Tua problems. Thanks for the phone call. You call Clemson. They call Mississippi State. Yo, it's your boy Brent V. I got Tua in the championship game, man, which y'all saw that I didn't see. Okay, blase. Okay, thank you. That's going to be Trevor Lawrence next year, this year. Other defensive coordinators are going to watch film and break it down. The phone's going to start ringing. Did you know that he doesn't check down on this one? Did you know he didn't see the receiver on that one? Did you know he throws the ball a little too early in that 5-step drop? All these things will come to bite Trevor Lawrence, and he will have the same fall that Tua did. That's football. You go out there, you show how great you are. They game plan for you, they get you back. You go in there, you game plan for them, you get them back. It's a game of chess. And Tua got caught last year, man. But Trevor Lawrence will go down this year. And y'all will mark my words. He will have the same fall Tua did. As a matter of fact, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to come out the gate smoking. But get by week 8, week 9, when that film is getting around the country and people are breaking it down a little bit faster, a little bit smarter, then we'll see what Trevor Lawrence is. But until he does anything else, all he has done is do the same thing Tua just did. So I don't see any Heisman in Trevor Lawrence's house. He won a championship, so did Tua. So Trevor Lawrence is not impressing me. It's still Tua all day. Roll Tide, baby. All right. Now we get some very disturbing things going on here at 1K Sports. As you all know, we are less than 2 weeks away. We are less than 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. And Zeke Elliott is still not in Dallas Cowboys camp. I'm not going to lie. At first, I was calling Zeke a bluff on this. But now I realize time is ticking away. My man Benny G just tweeted some Andrew Luck opinions. Benny G, man, I got a very passionate, thing on that, man. So trust me, stay tuned for that, man. Like I said, I thought Zeke was just playing around, being immature, but I realized this holdout is going nowhere fast, and the season's right around the corner. It's no longer funny anymore. So, I'm going to put on my manager hat, my GM hat, and I'm going to give my final, because I feel like I'm at my wit's end with this whole Zeke holdout thing, all right? So here's how I feel. Here is my final suggestion to Jerry Jones and Cowboy Nation. First of all, let's break down our whole offseason. What are my thoughts on us paying DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith? I'm cool with that. My man Benny G just popped in here. Le'Veon Bell opened the door for Zeke holdout. Don't forget Melvin Gordon, too. And you're right. Le'Veon Bell, he set the bar in terms of this is how you don't get treated by the NFL team. But Zeke has to understand this, Benny. You're not in the same boat Le'Veon Bell was in. The Pittsburgh Steelers made it very clear, Benjamin, that they were not going to pay Le'Veon Bell because within the first 4 or 5 years of his career with Pittsburgh, he was suspended twice and had an ACL injury. So Pittsburgh made their point very clear early on with Le'Veon Bell. Look, Le'Veon, we will give you the ball 400 times a year. We're not going to pay you. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers made it very clear. Le'Veon Bell just didn't get the picture. So that's what that was. But I feel like with Zeke, you don't have that same situation. You have an owner that has went to bat for you. You have an owner that challenged the NFL for you. An owner that financed your defense team your rookie year so you wouldn't go broke trying to defend your name. So I feel like Jerry Jones is not treating you like someone he can run into the ground. He's treating like someone he wants to invest in. So Zeke holding out doesn't help him and Jerry Jones' relationship, which is why when we do eventually sign Zeke, he's going to find himself on a very short leash because you were doing this holdout, you spit in Jerry Jones' face for all he's done for you. Stuck up for you, defended you, fought for you, ruined his own friendship with Roger Goodell for you. So Zeke holding out, it's like, hey, Benjamin, my man Andre Gregg from Hinesville, where's Hinesville? Who cares? Go Dogs. No, go Dogs, go down, go away. All right, go away, Dogs. No one cares about Georgia and Kirby Smart. Y'all are bootleg Alabama. There it is, I said it. Good to see you, though, Dre. But anyways, I feel like Zeke doesn't get the picture, man. But hey, like I said, Benjamin, I'm at my wit's end. I've called Zeke every name in the book over the last 2 weeks. I have. I've cussed Zeke out. I've done all kinds of things. I've said things to him. I've prayed bad things on him. All right? But now I've come to humble myself and realize that we are 2 weeks away from the start of the season, and Zeke ain't came to camp yet. My Cowboys have a damn good team this year, but without Zeke, we are in big trouble. So, I'm willing to give Jerry Jones this advice. Listen closely. Now, like I said, DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith. How do I feel about those contracts? My thoughts on that? Well, they were great deals. First of all, we signed DeMarcus Lawrence to a deal that did not make him the highest paid DN. That belongs to Khalil Mack, Von Miller, and Aaron Donald. So, for his position, at D-line, he's the fourth highest paid D lineman. the second highest, no, the third highest paid DN behind Von Miller and Khalil Mack, and behind Aaron Donald in terms of defensive players on that position. So I feel like with Jalen Smith, and by the way, congrats to him, Jalen Smith. You know, like I said, he was gonna be a top 5 pick in college. Had that gruesome knee injury in the Fiesta Bowl. Everything looked bad for him. Wasn't gonna play again. Rookie year he set out. His second year showed flashes. Last year balled out. So I feel like signing him to the deal we signed him to was smart because we can prorate that contract over time. So it's not really, affecting our bottom line of getting Coop and Zeke and Dak signed eventually. So I feel like those 2 deals were great deals. It made DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith a lot richer, but it was smart deals. We didn't overpay. We didn't make Jalen Smith the highest paid inside linebacker. That belongs to Wagner and Kuechly. So we paid Jalen Smith and D-Law according to their positions in their sport. D-Law is a top 5 DN. He got paid like a top 5 DN. Jalen Smith and Vander Esch are the best linebacking duos in the NFL, which makes Jalen Smith a top 3, top 5 inside linebacker. He got paid like a top 3 inside linebacker. So we signed those guys to very friendly deals that made them very rich, but saved us money to sign other guys as well. So I'm cool with those things. Amari Cooper, as you all know, we got to sign him. I feel like out of all the Cowboys this year that's trying to get money, I respect what Amari Cooper did. He came out the first day of camp and said, look here, I ain't got no worries. I ain't go a whole lot. I'm good. And why is he good? Amari's in great position right now. He's getting $14 million this year to play football. All right, he's a first-round pick. He's already made, $27 million already. Excuse me. So he's getting $14 million this year. Not to mention, we traded a first-round pick for Amari Cooper. So it's kind of like to not pay him would make us look stupid. And it would. A first-round pick for Amari Cooper and you don't sign him, that's a bad move. So Amari knows we have to, at some point, re-sign him to kind of recover that first-round pick we gave up for him. So he knows we got to pay him because the first-round pick we traded for him. Also, Amari's smart. He understands that the price for a franchise quarterback and the price for a franchise receiver are going the same direction. Very fast, very north. All right? So Amari is saying, hold on. Michael Thomas made 2 Pro Bowls. Michael Thomas has had, 3,000-yard seasons. Okay, cool. But I've had 3. And I've made 3 Pro Bowls. And I didn't have Drew Brees throw me the football. So Amari's like, hold on. He's getting $20 million this year, and Julio and Tyreek Hill and AJ Green are all going to get new deals too. I think I'll wait. And Amari's smart. He's going to sit back and wait. Let Julio get crazy paid. Let Tyreek Hill get crazy paid. Let AJ Green re-up. Maybe D-Hop redo his contract. Let them all get paid. You go out to have a breakout season. You sign your contract midway through the season when everybody's already been overpaid. You can kind of get yours. So I feel Amari Cooper on that. So he's playing it cool. No distraction here. But we should sign him because of the first-round pick. And, of course, with Amari, his value is validated. He saved our season. I get it. Zeke is our most valuable player. But even with Zeke being the NFL's leading rusher last year, we were still 3-5. With Zeke running wild, with our defense being top 5, we were still 3-5 with all those things going for us. The turning point that made us contenders was going to get Amari Cooper because now we can further evaluate Dak. Now Dak has the number 1 target to throw the ball to. So now we save our season. We get a clear-eye view on what Dak really is, and we can be a contender. So Amari Cooper saved our season. And we got a first-round pick. We traded a first-round pick for him. So his value has been proven. So if we don't, so God forbid we don't pay him, best believe some other team will give Amari Cooper top receiver money. But because we're in position to have him, we better beat this thing we better go ahead and get it done before it's too late. Or the price tag gets too out of control. Which is already getting there with Michael Thomas' new deal. My thoughts on Dak. I honestly and truly understand where Dak is coming from in terms of not wanting to take a pay cut. I completely understand where it's coming from. You seeing all these guys getting money, and you feel like, hey, I beat Russell Wilson in the playoff game. I have outplayed Matt Stafford. I beat Carson Wentz head to head. I've actually in my career compared to Carson Wentz's career. You take away Carson Wentz first 12 games of his second year. What has he done? Nothing. Missed the playoffs. Last year, the team was going to miss the playoffs when he got hurt. So I understand where that's coming from in terms of how he's outperformed some of these top-paid quarterbacks. But my issue with Dak is this, Dak. I get it. You got the most wins in the NFL next to Tom Brady. You play big in big games. You outplayed Aaron Rodgers rookie year in the playoff game. You outplayed Russell Wilson, won that playoff game. You had a decent game against the Rams, but hey, that was your chance, Dak, to go out there in that game and win that game and prove your point in that game. But you didn't. And turn down, I don't want to pay Dak Prescott $30 million. But for him to turn down $30 million, that's a problem for me, Dak. You want $40 million? I'm sorry. You got to go out there and win a championship if you want that kind of money. Sometimes in life we all get so caught up in what other people have in their bank account and in their life. Oh, they got money, but not everybody has the same living conditions. Dak Prescott. Nobody cares that the Lions overpaid Matthew Stafford and they ain't won a playoff game since 1991. No one cares. No one cares that Kirk Cousins got paid big money and took a team that made the NFC Championship game the previous year and they missed the playoffs under his watch. No one cares. No one cares that Jimmy G got overpaid and that the 49ers are going to be roadkill in 2 years over that deal. No one cares. Aaron Rodgers deserves his money. Russell Wilson deserves his money. You want to know why? Because they are all their team has. Seattle doesn't have the LOB no more. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode is gone. All they have is Russell Wilson. All the Packers have is Aaron Rodgers. So, of course, they should get overly paid because they all their teams have to win. Dak Prescott, you have everything around you that makes you better. You're not in the same situation, in the same living condition as Aaron Rodgers. You are not in the same living conditions as Matt Ryan. No one cares that Matt Ryan couldn't close out the Patriots in the Super Bowl, that he was up 28-3 in. No one cares about that. Dak Prescott, if we pay you $40 million and you go out there and you don't win a championship, you are going to get crucified for the rest of your life. Don't you get that, Dak Prescott? You are the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. You don't get the same, excuses that everyone else gets. No one cares. The spotlight is on you. You have a team around you that can elevate you for the next 3 or 4 years. Dak, as a quarterback, you're not all the way developed yet. And don't be ashamed. It took Aaron Rodgers a good 5 years to get developed. It took Big Ben a good 6 years to really grow into his own. So sometimes you have to know who you are right now. And right now, Dak Prescott, you need Zeke. You need Coop. You need that defense. You need the offensive line. So if I'm Jerry, I offer Dak a team-friendly deal. I said, look, Dak, sign this deal. Let me sign Zeke. Let me sign Coop. I got Wolf Hunter and Jalen Smith and D-Law for the next 4 or 5 years. Let me try to get Byron Jones on a small deal. Let me keep this core of guys around you for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Let you win some playoff games, win some championships, and then when it's round 2 for the money, I cut Zeke. I maybe re-sign Coop. I probably cut just D-Law. I probably make some changes, and then you get your big money. But until then, Dak Prescott, stay in your lane, bro. You are not Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, and no one cares about what Matt Stafford is getting money to do. The Detroit Lions will not win a championship or a playoff game anytime soon. No one cares, Dak Prescott, but for the Cowboys, they do care. It does matter. Plain and simple. It does matter, Dak Prescott. So yes, you saw Jimmy G get a bunch of money. The 49ers are going to suck for a long time to come. But no one's going to care. So Dak Prescott, understand who you are and where you play at. You play for the Dallas Cowboys. You don't get the excuse or the free pass to lose playoff games year after year. They're killing you right now, and you're a fourth-round pick getting $2 million. Imagine the pressure on you if we give you $40 million. They're going to come for you every Sunday. You'll be the leading topic on every ESPN show on earth if we pay you this money. So, Dak, take a small pay cut, enjoy the squad you got around you, win some championships, and then when it's round 2 for the contracts, you get your big piece of the pie, and everybody else just go to hell on. Plain and simple. But Dak is asking for too much. I understand why, but in terms of it being what's best for the Cowboys, it's not in our best interest to pay Dak Prescott that much money. Plain and simple. And finally, Zeke Elliott. I think Zeke Elliott is very immature. I think he needs to grow the hell up. I think he has a drinking problem. I think Zeke has an issue with authority. Like I said, very, very immature. Makes very, very dumb decisions. But as of right now, Zeke Elliott is our most valuable player. Like, to me, hearing Amari Cooper, my man from the east side, Rashad Payton, checking in, man, saying they're, oh, man, that's how you feel, bro? The relationship between Zeke and the Cowboys is tainted. It's over. And you know what, bro? That just might be true. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and say that between Zeke and Jerry Jones, that relationship is very much ruined, very much over. Because Jerry feels like, Zeke, I've had your back. I stood by you. I spoke up for you. I made excuses for you. I've covered for your ass. You know, when you've done dumb things, you know, I've stood by you, and you turn your back on me by holding out. So between Jerry Jones and Zeke, yes, it's going to be over. But there was issue between Jerry Jones and Charles Haley and Emmitt Smith, and it wasn't like, you know, I don't think it's going to affect our team. You saying trade Zeke, Benny? Wow. Rashard, I see your point. Benny, you saying trade Zeke? You're crazy. No. Sorry. For who? Fournette? Sorry. No, we're not trading Zeke. I know y'all Jaguars wish y'all could have Zeke in y'all backfield, but no, he's our guy. Y'all got Fournette. All right? DUI Fournette. Keep that. Now, Rashard, my man Rashard saying, why should he take a pay cut? F that, get the money, Dak. I feel you, Rashard. But will the Dallas Cowboys, we don't get that same privilege other teams get to overpay their quarterback and then suck after we pay him. We have a chance right now, bro, because we've done something that other NFL teams don't do. We have drafted so good that we don't mess around and drafted a championship caliber team. And Dak has to understand that you are who you are because of the guys we drafted and put around you, not because we got you. The Green Bay Packers will always be a contender because they got Aaron Rodgers, not because of what Aaron Rodgers have around him. Hell, if Aaron Rodgers had our team, he'd win a championship every year. Whatever, Benny. We're not trading Zeke, man. We gotta figure this thing out. Why give Zeke up for nothing, man? Because trading for who? Like Todd Gurley ain't going nowhere. L. Bill ain't going nowhere. You know, if I can't think of a top running back I would trade Zeke for. You know, so that just can't be, man. Like if we go trade him, we should have done it early on in this offseason, man. But it's too late now to trade Zeke because we can't get nothing for him, man. My man Benny G saying that Dak Prescott is not worth that kind of money. And I agree. I love Dak Prescott. I am hard on Dak Prescott. And that's my guy Rashard Payton. You and Benny kind of have the same, making the point here. Rashard, you're saying Dak get your money. Benny, you saying Dak ain't worth it. I agree with Benny G. You have to look in the mirror and look at yourself. Quit looking at Jimmy G and looking at Kirk Cousins. No, like I said, no one cares that Kirk Cousins got paid that much money and missed the playoffs. Dak, if you get paid that Kirk Cousins money and miss the playoffs, you are done, bro. They're going to kill you every day. But the excuse that Kirk Cousins has is that, okay, I missed the playoffs, but I go out there and put up big numbers. And I just blame my defense. My man Rashad Payton said that his Pittsburgh Steelers will offer a corner and a third-round pick for Ezekiel Elliott. Damn, bro, throwing the food stamp card while you at it. A third-round pick and a corner? Who? Old ass Joe Hayden? Nah, bro. We ain't doing that, man. Like I said, trading Zeke would have been cool before the draft when we had options. We could trade this for that or trade him for that. The top running backs are all locked in. Todd Gurley, L. Bell. Hell, if you want to say Melvin Gordon. You said Pittsburgh is done, Benny G. I don't agree with that. I think, yeah, you lose AB and L. Bell, but I've seen, Rashad, you don't like that either, man. But yeah, I believe that Pittsburgh, yeah, they're gonna miss L. Bell and AB, but I feel like I've seen Big Ben have success without those guys. He's won 2 championships. Neither one came with AB or L. Bell, so I believe y'all really are asleep on Pittsburgh this year, man. I really feel like they can be a dangerous team, especially with Cleveland kind of getting all the headlines, bro. So I'm with Dog Rashad on that, man. I feel like Pittsburgh will still be great this year. James Conner, y'all go trade us James Conner for Ezekiel Elliott? Nah, bro. Great story. Great story, man, about the kid and how he overcame cancer and all that, man. But I'm sorry, bro. James Conner for Zeke Elliott, bro. I don't see that. Sorry, man. Like, can't roll with that, bro. Can't roll with that, man. Like I said, trading Zeke is not an option because what option do we have? We're trying to win this year. Trading Zeke will not help us win this year because there's nothing that we're gonna get back in return that's gonna elevate us to that point. So I don't see it happening like that. But to be honest with you guys, I don't think we should trade Zeke. I say go ahead and pay him. By paying Zeke, here's what you do. You take a dark cloud from over this team's head. This Cowboys team, like I said, this is a special team. And this year, I have a great feeling this is going to be a special year. I picked my Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. Plain and simple. As an unfiltered, unbiased 1K Sports employee, I picked the Cowboys to win it all. Because I feel like what we have this year, this is our time. This is our time. So I feel like go ahead and pay Zeke, end the distraction, end the holdout, get this dark cloud from over our head, let's go out there and play ball. But when you do sign Zeke, I say sign him to a contract with a very short leash. Pay him his money. Give him one more dollar than Todd Gurley. One more. Make him the highest paid running back, whatever he wants. The moment he screws up, cut him. The moment the production slips, cut him. Plain and simple. Or trade him. But right now, in today's day, pay Zeke. Let's end this holdout. Let's get this dark cloud from over our head and let's move forward. So that's my final suggestion. Let's pay Zeke. I get all the transgressions. And Rashard, that's the thing, bro, because you kind of killing your previous point about get the money. What Jerry Jones is saying to Dak Prescott and Zeke is, look, we have built a very great team. And don't y'all want to win championships, right? So we've built a great team that can win a championship. That's why we're saying, can you guys take a little small pay cut for us? I'm not saying Jerry Jones trying to slave guys or that NFL player shouldn't get guaranteed money. I believe in my heart every NFL contract should be guaranteed. There should not be a salary cap in the NFL because of how dangerous the game is. It makes more sense to have guaranteed contracts, to guarantee these guys can have money in the future just in case something happens. But, like you said, Rashard, no one player is bigger than the team. So that's what Jerry Jones has been saying all offseason. Believe me, I am not the biggest Jerry Jones fan, but I agree with him on this standpoint. We have built a great team through the draft, and now here we are with all these guys young, in their prime, we have a chance to win a championship this year. So that's what Jerry Jones is saying. Look, Dak, Zeke, Amari, all you guys, look, I understand what y'all want. But understand, y'all have a chance to be champions this year. Doesn't that matter more than anything else? And not just winning a championship this year, but winning over the next 4 or 5 years. We could have ourselves a real dynasty here if everything goes right. But we have to get Zeke in the camp. I'm all for making Zeke suffer and learn his lesson. But, sorry, I just can't. Trading Zeke's not an option. Cutting him is not an option. So, right now, we have no choice but to pay Zeke. We're not going to get nothing in return in a trade that will make us better than without Zeke. Sorry. So, I would say go ahead and sign Zeke, and let's put this whole thing to rest. Sign Coop, and if that want $40 million, let him play it out. Let him play it out, man. You're right. Dak is not a guy who gets in trouble, Richard. Zeke is. But the issue is that on this team, Zeke is more valuable than Dak. I get it. Dak Prescott does all the right things off the field, but for us to be a great team and win games, we need Zeke. Yeah, you're right. Every year is something. That's why I'm saying go ahead and sign Zeke right now. That way, you got him on the contract, you give him the guaranteed money, but you can still do what you want to do. It ain't fully guaranteed. You can cut Zeke, you can sign Zeke this year and cut him next year. Same thing with AB. Y'all did the same thing with AB last year. Y'all signed AB to that big old deal. The first year in that contract, he wild out. Y'all trade him. So with Zeke, okay, we'll give you your money. And like I said, Richard, when you give a guy his money, the real him comes out. So if Zeke is really that guy who can't stay out of trouble, let's give him this money and see what happens. And Benny, we dodged that bullet this year. So he's not going to be suspended this year. Like I said, going forward, I would sign Zeke, but in that contract, I make it very much known, Zeke, you get arrested, you're done. Your production slips, you're done. So I would sign Zeke, but I would let Zeke know you screw up, you're done. Plain and simple. So that's my suggestion. You know, like I said, I'm at my wits' end with my Cowboys, man. This whole Zeke thing is going too far. Like I said, I feel like Dak Prescott, $40 million, that's too much, bro. That's too much. If you want that kind of money, you got to win a championship, bro. You got to. You got to. Plain and simple. So, as of right now, I'll let Dak play it out. I sign Coop. I sign Zeke. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Because if Dak Prescott don't get it done, then he's still saying $40 million. Okay, Dak, peace out. Okay, Rashad, man. See, this is where I uninvite you to the family reunion. This is why I don't invite you to the cookouts and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? For saying stuff like that. The Cowboys go suck. Too many problems. We got one problem. See, that's the problem. Y'all Cowboy haters, y'all want Zeke holding out because y'all know in the back of y'all mind the only hope y'all have is Zeke holding out. If Zeke comes back, it's a wrap. That's why I'm saying get Zeke in the camp. I give up, Zeke. You win. I throw in the white towel, Zeke, okay? You're still an asshole. You're still a troublemaker. You're still immature. You still got problems. But, damn it, you win, okay? We have a great team when Zeke is around to win a championship. But like I said, as much of an asshole as I think Zeke Elliott is, and how immature he is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But what are we going to do? What's the alternative to Zeke right now? No trade will solve this problem. No trade will. So, like I said, y'all believe in Cowboys gonna suck. I think both of y'all are tripping. Because first of all, the Jaguars do suck already. Like I said, Rashard, Pittsburgh will be good this year. So I ain't gonna call y'all bluff on that. I mean, I ain't gonna backtrack on that. So I think Pittsburgh will actually be good this year. But you best believe my Cowboys will be in the mix. One thing we know for sure, Rashard, the Jaguars ain't going no damn where. No damn where, no time fast. All right? So say what you want with my Cowboys, man. We will be all right. Zeke will get signed. Jerry Jones will figure this out. I don't know how, but he'll figure it out. I have faith in Jerry Jones that he'll get it out. Thoughts on Andrew Luck? I'm glad you said that because that takes me to my next topic. All right, ladies and gentlemen. You know, y'all, Benny G, when the Jaguars make the playoffs, give me a call, all right? We suck without Zeke. We don't know that. We'll see. But he'll be back. Like I said, whatever. All right. As you all know, Andrew Luck abruptly, shockingly retired early at the early age of 29. Put him on a very, very exclusive list of very talented guys who retired at a very young age. Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, now Andrew Luck. When I think about Andrew Luck retiring, it goes back to something a quote that I heard from someone. It's not an exact quote, but it's something similar. It says that the most beautiful things have the darkest realities. And when I think about that, I think about LT, Whitney Houston, Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson, Robert Downey Jr., people like that. Appreciate it, Rashad, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. So you think about LT, special. In my opinion, the greatest football player ever because he revolutionized one position and changed the face of another one. He made left tackles and pass rushers famous, plain and simple. So I believe Andrew Luck retiring is a harsh reality that this beautiful game that we love, football, the dark reality is that football is the most beautiful, best game in the world. But it's the most grimiest, the dirtiest, the most, selfish. Like just it would change, your life in a lot of different ways. Make you richer, make you paralyzed, you can go broke, you can have memory loss. I have bad knees at times. I have to sleep, like this. I can't sleep with either one of my shoulders. So the game of football, it's a harsh reality that comes with that. And I believe that Andrew Luck retiring just further adds to that reality that football can be a dark place. You're talking about a guy, Andrew Luck, that came into this league as the number one rated. He was the best NFL prospect since John Elway, and that was 1983. Andrew Luck came in this league with those kind of expectations. But as you all know, his first 3 years took a beating. Was sacked a whole lot of times, didn't have an offensive line, had shoulder issues, back issues, and then he had the lacerated kidney, almost lost a kidney. That's how bad he was getting beat down, had a spleen injury, all kind of stuff that went wrong for him, man. Then the shoulder, now you got knee and calf issues. So Andrew Luck retired. It was unfortunate, but unfortunately, it's not something I was surprised by because the beating that he took, man, and just the way he would just keep on coming back, watching him get hit like that, watching him, get beat down like that, you just knew at some point this is not going to end so well, And like I said, there have been other high-profile picks or high-profile guys that have retired early in their prime. Calvin Johnson was on the Hall of Fame pace. He retired at 29. Barry Sanders, retired early and is still regarded as the greatest running back ever. As a matter of fact, my cousin asked me about a couple years ago. He said, "Cuz, do you think Barry Sanders is the best running back ever?" And at the time, I said no. Of course not. And then he asked me, "Well, who would you put ahead of him?" And I said, "Wow." And to this day, Now, I know my cousin didn't ask me that question based on career accomplishments because, of course, it's Emmitt Smith. He asked me that question based on the best running back, man for man. Who's better than Barry Sanders? And the only guy that I could think of was another guy that retired early, and that's Gale Sayers because of injuries. That's the harsh reality of this game. Someone whose game is so beautiful, like a Barry Sanders, can just. We look at Barry Sanders and we see the beautifulness in this game. We see him moving side to side. We see him, making guys miss, giving us a lifetime of highlights. What we don't see is Barry Sanders carrying a franchise that had no offensive line, that had no quarterback, very limited receivers. You know what I'm saying? So that's the dirty part of it. We saw LT, give us a lifetime of highlights. But the harsh reality was, the drug issues, and the off the field nonsense. That robbed LT of another probably about 3 or 4 years. Whitney Houston, the most beautiful voice I ever heard. Drug issues. Mike Tyson changed the boxing game forever. Coming in, knocking guys out, being that killer. Out the ring issues. Went to prison for rape, had drug issues, money issues, went broke. Robert Downey Jr. Prison, drugs. Now he's one of the highest grossing actors in the world. He's the guy that plays Iron Man. So, some of the most beautiful things in life have a dark reality attached to that. And you can go all the way down the list. Chris Brown. The Macaulay Culkin, the Olsen twins. We saw the beauty of their career, but not the dark reality of their life. And that's football. That's football in a nutshell. Football is beautiful, and I'm very blessed that I played this game, in high school, and I had the privilege of playing it in college. And believe me, like, this game is beautiful. You walk away with so many memories and so many great times to meet so many great people. You're like a family. And the harsh reality is that as ball players, we go through a lot that the fans don't see, that the common folks don't see. We sit in front of our TVs and we watch this beautiful product. Like, we sit there and we watch Whitney Houston, and we watch LT, and we watch Mike Tyson, and we watch Robert Downey Jr., and we watch these guys, Michael Jackson, Macaulay Culkin. We watch these great, memorable things they do with their talent that just changes our life. But if we only knew what they went through, but like I said, football is a beautiful thing, but it's very dangerous. It's a very dark, cold-hearted sport that can spit you up and chew you out. In basketball, if LeBron James missed the playoffs, the ratings go down. In football, if Tom Brady blows tear ACL, guess what? They take Tom Brady off the field, they put the ball back on the spot, and they move on. The ratings don't slip, nothing changes. In football, you're forgotten about that quick. In basketball, you have Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. You have generational talent. With football, every year is someone different. Every year is someone different. Every year it's a different guy, a different, face. And that's football. It's a dangerous game that we play. And I feel like Andrew Luck retiring should teach us something. And all of us, players, fans, all of that, parents who have players that want to put their kids in sports, we all should learn from this. So I feel like, from a player standpoint, what advice would I give to current players or players that want to play football? From my standpoint, my advice to any young kid that wants to play football, or any young kid that's playing football, make peace with the darkness of football before you embrace the light. Before you embrace that big old bright light of Friday nights or Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons, before you want to embrace the great thing about football, because there are so many great, beautiful things about football. Before you embrace that, you have to embrace the darkness of it. I have two 5-year-old twins. They haven't played football yet. And people ask me all the time, Pat, why aren't you putting your kids in football? Well, number one, I want my sons to understand what the game is going to do to you. And I'm not trying to be, Debbie Downer to anyone. Like I said, I have plenty of friends and family members that put their kids in football. To each his own, man. I'm not trying to tell you how to raise your kids or anything like that. But my only advice to all of you parents who put your kids into a sport like football, ask yourself this question. If this game takes something away from my child that he can't get back, have I, as a parent, allowed him to fully accept that? When I played football, I fully expected that any given hit or any given wrong move could end my career. I made peace with that before I ever embraced the great thing about football. I embraced all the bad things that could happen. And crazy as we all sound, that's what drove us. That's what drove me. The pain we're addicted to. We're drawn this by this. You know what I'm saying? With the craziest this game is, we're so drawn to it. We're so addicted to it. We love it so much. But deep down inside, we all have made peace with the darkness of the game. And I feel like a lot of parents nowadays are throwing their kids into sports, into football, saying, oh, my son go be this, my son go be that. And by all means, do your thing. But have you, as a parent, really allowed your child to understand what they're getting themselves into? Not what you're putting them into, but what have they made that decision. Have they made peace with what football can do for you? And I feel like my sons love watching football. They love throwing the ball around. But they haven't quite understood and they haven't quite gotten an understanding of what this game can do to you. The worst things about this game is what you should embrace before you play it. Now, my advice to fans, appreciate what's there. Appreciate the greatness that you see, because football is not going nowhere. But the people that play this game, we are going somewhere. And we may go somewhere a lot sooner than you expect us to go. Guys are killing themselves. Guys go broke. Guys have brain issues. Guys get paralyzed. Guys can't walk anymore after playing football. So I saw the Colts fans, when it was announced, they booed Andrew Luck. I thought that was distasteful. That was just despicable. A lack of class. Just do that. Because what this young man has put his body through to entertain you guys is appalling. A bruised spleen, a ruptured kidney, back, shoulder, all kind of issues. I've performed in front of a lot of people playing football, but there are folks that have watched me play for years that have no idea what my body still goes through. I stopped playing football going on 9 years ago, and my fingers still twitch. My MCL in my right knee still bothers me. It still sometimes hurt to stand up and pee in the toilet sometimes. It sometimes hurts me to sleep on my... It does hurt me. I cannot sleep on either of my shoulders. So the game has given me a lot, but it robbed me of a lot of stuff too. And I feel like going forward, and Andrew Luck being, like I said, he's not the first to do it. And unfortunately, he won't be the last to do it. Tom Brady is still playing at 40, 42, 43 years old. And here's Andrew Luck retiring at 29. So, yeah, we embrace the beauty of it, but we have to embrace the darkness of football, too, as players, before we go out there and play football. And as a fan, appreciate what you see from these players, because some of these guys are putting themselves through a lot just to give you something to talk about. So what we all should learn from Andrew Luck is that we should just, as a fan, embrace the beauty of the game, and appreciate what's in front of you, and have that heart that out there on that football field are husbands and fathers, sons, brothers, people out there putting their family's future, their health, safety on the line every single Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for your entertainment. So for the Colts fans to boo like that was despicable. It was horrible. So what we all should learn from Andrew Luck's early retirement is that this beautiful game is dark, it's cold, it's cruel behind the scenes, very much so. And I love football. To this day, I still love football. But as much as football gave to me, I got championships from it. I got success from it, friends from it. I got to meet people I only saw on TV, because I played football. But I also developed, different things, different darkness, different, things that hurt me and affect me to this day from playing football. So there is a beautiness in football, but there's a darkness in it too. And I feel like, as a fan, appreciate the beauty of it. Because a lot of these guys you see playing football will never be the same again. A lot of fans, we sit there and watch these guys play football, will be 70, 80 years old, still going to games. A lot of these guys playing this game won't make it to 70 or 80. The guys that entertained you and gave you something to sit down and watch on TV every Sunday, Friday, and Saturday, they may not get to even fully enjoy what you're watching ever again. They may never even make it to the age you're at right now. They may kill themselves. They may not have the same kind of thought you have about life. So that's a darkness of football. Like I said, I'm not trying to down anyone from putting their kids in sports. If you feel like your kid can play football, you want to do that as a parent, go ahead. My only thing is, as a parent myself and a former player, I just say allow your kids to embrace the darkness of it. Don't just tell your kids, you're going to play football, you're going to get me out the hood, and we'll be rich. Tell your kid, son, you could hurt yourself out there. This game could maim you. This game could kill you. Are you ready for that? Not, son, go out there and play football, get me out the hood, buy me a car and a house. Son, go out there and be safe. Go out there and make it back home to me. So, like I said, Andrew Luck retiring was very unfortunate, but it just shines more light on the darkness that is the beauty of football. So, like I said, man, it's 1K Sports, man. Uncut, unbiased, unfiltered, unapologetic. Peace out.